Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Pop Culture Cosmos. Inside sports, fantasy football, also as well. Don't forget what I do also as well when it comes to Lakers Fast Break. But at the Pop Culture Cosmos, we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every day, all day long for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And then don't forget twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're one of the great radio stations around the world that has kept us alive all these years, we are indebted to you and appreciate everything you do out there. And to the listeners on those radio stations, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But what do you mean a Pop Culture Cosmos without my compadre in crime? Indeed, he is the evil mastermind along with Brank for the burgeoning hit. I just say the only podcast on the internet, I think you call it. It is the Super BS Gamescast, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only podcast on the internet. This is not a podcast right here. This is just a life cast. Talk about life stuff. So
Okay.
fair
enough.
we officially coined the term podcast before everyone else did it. No big deal. I'm just kidding.
Boy, if you could have done that, man. If you'd actually been the guy to license that word.
I know. What's funny is that nobody cared about podcasts until Joe Rogan came on and started doing his thing. That's when podcasts officially blew up. And ever since then, man, we've just been trying to ride some coattails,
It's so fun because people are like, how long you been podcasting? Oh, you have a podcast. How long you been podcasting? Oh, since 2009. 2009? They were podcasting back in 2009? Yeah, there was this thing called the internet back then as well. So yeah, it's amazing. But yes. Yes.
Nowadays, any bro with a fedora can have his own podcast, and most people do. Pretty much. I wouldn't be surprised about 60% of the population has a podcast now.
That is true indeed, but we started the trend, and we're glad to be doing it right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it is, of course, the guy behind the Super BS Gamescast, Humanican Media on YouTube. Please subscribe today and check out. He needs some watch hours, so go ahead, dive in to all the content he has at Humanican Media. If you love your game streams, go ahead and check it out today. Plus, also as well, of course, he is the Happy Hoarder. Go ahead and make sure you check out on social media the Happy Hoarder wherever you need your collectibles. It's almost that time of the year where you need some gifts for your loved ones in the pop culture room. It is, of course, Josh the Great Peterson. Josh, great to have you here, my friend, talking pop culture once again.
Good to be here. I know I think it's been a few weeks because we just at that point in life, where things like you went to a Raiders game and I had to take my kids places. Just we're grown-ups now, and it's hard to make our schedules collide sometimes.
Yes, that's why we throw you the best of what we do out there in the universe, whether it's Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We'll throw you some cool Super BS Gamescast stuff, all relating to pop culture. But whenever I also get to sit down with you, my friend, we've been doing this since 2016. And I do say it off the air, but people ask me, do you still enjoy what you do? And I'm like, when it comes to the Pop Culture Cosmos, never doubt. You, Melinda, TJ, Jamie Monroy, and whoever I'm able to get on the show for the interviews that I do, anytime I'm able to get a chance to talk pop culture with you guys, it's just relaxing. For me, it's just really fun to do.
Yeah, I feel the same, man. I don't have anyone really to talk pop culture stuff with, so it's I talk to my wife sometimes, but we're not, we don't really have the same interests when it comes to pop culture stuff. So it's nice to get on and talk to like-minded people,
Yes, it is, my friend. But we got a great show lined up for everyone out there today. We'll be talking some movies. We'll be talking some video games. We'll be talking some TV. And also, get you in that realm, it's that month. It's one of our favorite months of the year, Josh, because it's Black Friday month coming up later this month in the month of November. Oh, yeah, I like that. So we'll give you a taste of Black Friday because someone has taken the jump on Black Friday, and I do want to hear Josh's thoughts on that coming up on the show as well. But first off, my friend, it is Agatha All Along. I want to go ahead and start off the show with
Real quick, cool, bro. House was actually a doctor on a famous television show from the early 2000s. Maybe you should check that out.
his standards are low because the Rams are in second place in the NFC West. Yeah, he says this is the best day ever for him, and I'm like, if that's your standard, you need to raise your standards there. I mean, that's just yeah.
Well, I mean, at least you guys aren't Cowboy fans. I mean, then you'd really be in trouble.
Oh my gosh, man! Wait, and then he jumps over to the Lakers fast break, and that audience there just oh my gosh, they're merciless on him, man. It just like, oh, they're just man. He's a 15-year-old kid just trying to get through life. Cool, bro. Always got much respect for you. He does love his Star Wars, so may the Force be with you as well, my friend. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break coming up here with him when he stops on by. But with us, it's the Pop Culture Cosmos. So, my friend, I wanted to ask you this. Agatha All Along, it's been actually a good hit for Disney Plus, critically and also reception wise. It's getting good word of mouth. I finished the series, and I know I've been getting a little bit of blowback because I haven't given I haven't been doing backflips for it. I think it's a solid watch. I think it's a good watch. I think it does have a lot of cohesion. I know in the realm of I want my stories to connect to a larger Marvel universe. It kind of does that. It obviously does a little bit more that than Moon Knight per se. It does get the blood flowing as far as getting you closer to a reunification of Scarlet Witch with her children as a possible thing. As far as no real big spoilers if you've already watched what's going on out there, but it's a possibility out there that they've raised in this show so far.
Do that. Okay, so I'll be forward.
There'll be some slight spoilers, so just to let you know, coming up here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I haven't watched it. The witchcraft genre just has never interested me that much. Scarlet Witch is cool, but this is just not a show. Not that I like have anything against it. I just don't really feel the desire to watch.
It's not really for me either. Not really for me either. But that normally.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and maybe I will one day when I have some time. I just haven't done it yet. So I want to ask you this. I want a full spoiler here. Is there any hint towards the Scarlet Witch returning to the world at some point?
I will tell you right now, there's a little hint, but they're very vague about it. But at the very end, they do talk about it, that there's a hint that that might happen somewhere down the line. Scarlet Witch, they're going to probably bring her back. They have no doubt because she is such a vaunted part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Does JSJ said, does this show even lead to something? Yeah, Jay, leads to a season 2, of course. That's the way they set it up as. I'm not saying it to be in negative differential, but they do lead it up to a second season where they're now going on the search, possibly for a return reunification with Scarlet Witch. Agatha does show herself throughout the entire thing as far as being Agatha. If you're expecting Agatha to be something else outside of the evil witch that she is, then set yourself up for something different because she is an evil witch throughout. I will just say that. And I will say that she does carry this show. I mean, Agatha, the reason why they did it and the reason why Kevin Feige pushed it was obviously because of the great performance Catherine Hahn had in WandaVision, Josh.
Can you remind me real quick, why was she like torturing Scarlet Witch in that show? I don't even remember that far back.
They had I think because she tries to gain witch's power. Catherine Hahn is all about trying to become the strongest witch she can be by gaining ultimate power over every witch, and that would include the power that she had to try and control the world and universe of of what was with WandaVision. So if that's the case, she was trying to make every facet of Scarlet Witch's life. She took all the things that she cared about and she really warped it and created that, helped create that almost like prison like atmosphere that Scarlet Witch didn't even realize she was in until later on in the series. So with that's the case, Agatha, she got paid up for her crimes at the end of WandaVision. Everybody knows that. Now, this is series delves with the fact is, okay, how does she get herself back to the evil witch we all know? And in some cases, that people out there really appreciate. Catherine Hahn is they just lean on Catherine Hahn. This series does what it knows what it does well, and it leans on Catherine Hahn, and she delivers. She is really good in this role. There's a reason why that Kevin Feige said yes to this role, yes to this series, is because she's just that good. And in doing so, she carries this thing to a really solid way. The storytelling is a little bit off. I think they could have put some elements of the last two episodes and flip-flopped them. There's some flashbacks in the last episode I thought was like oddly placed. I think they should have placed it in the previous episode. And then there's a climactic battle that takes place, I wish would have taken place in the last episode. You know what I'm saying? I wish they would have structured a little bit better, but the storytelling for the most part is solid. The cast itself is a lot of unknowns in the cast for the most part. And I think that for that, they really do a nice job as far as, these are not household names. So I think they did a lot of pretty good job as far as being able to support what Catherine Hahn is doing. Aubrey Plaza, you don't see enough of, but she is good whenever she's on screen as well. She's the only other major name in this mix. But for what they had, and you could see it wasn't the kind of like $250, $300 million type of series, like Secret Invasion and some of the other stuff that they've had that they've really not had success with. This was kept under a budget, but it was still something I think that ultimately pays off because it's solid with what it does. It does bring a little bit part of the universe back in there as far as when it concerns the ultimate goal of trying, I guess, to bring back Scarlet Witch. I mean, that's the tie-in. At least it's one up on Moon Knight because Moon Knight did absolutely nothing to further the MCU universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I just think it was a solid watch. But I'm not as high on it as everybody else is. I think it's a good watch. I don't think it's a great watch. I think there are series like Hawkeye is just my number one by far. Then you got Loki season 1. Then you have WandaVision and Agatha All Along right after that. So those are my top picks. Everything else, Loki season 2, I think on the back end was good, but everything else really has its troubles when it concerns all those Disney Plus Marvel shows. But yeah, for this one, I know you said you're not into the witch thing. I think you can miss it and you can avoid it if you're not really into it and not really have it be a big deal about it. But if you want to sit down and watch it for 9 episodes, I think you'll like it. Her performance is what makes it go.
Yeah, I've heard great things about her performance. And everyone's like stoked because she was the first person to present have their butt hanging out in like the MCU or something. I was reading all that stuff, but yeah, I mean it's. I'm curious because they're like this show it has 2 tie-ins, right? Like you have her kids are part of the Young Avengers. And then you have, Scarlet Witch, who is obviously they're going to bring her back for one of the new Avenger films. So I guess will they have a season 2 of this show? And if they do, will it tie into those properties? And also, Marvel does not have outside of Daredevil, Marvel has not had good luck with season 2s of their shows. So Loki was okay. Season 2 is okay, but is nowhere near as great as the first season.
I agree with you there.
And even the viewer trends show that season 2 was not as well enjoyed.
I definitely like the back end of season 2. The front part was absolutely just way too much exposition on that on Loki season 2.
Yeah.
The first part. Yeah.
So I guess the big question here is, will if they go for that season 2, will they be able to maintain the, I guess, the level of not hype, but production that they have, and what will it eventually lead to? Is it just going to be something that connects two different phases of the MCU, or is this going to have a bigger part in things to come?
It's all about the writing. It's all about the writing, my friend. I think when it comes right down to it, if the writing remains good like we saw here, then I think that's I think it's a good turn. Now, Agatha, her I guess disposition at the end of the season is different than the way it ended up with WandaVision. I'll just say that, trying to avoid any spoilers out there for people. So she's in a different place per se, but it is something where she maybe, whether she likes it or not, or probably against her best wishes, or maybe for her evil purposes, maybe at some point in time reuniting with Scarlet Witch in some way or another. That's what you're
Yeah.
led to believe at the end of season 1.
She's got that anti-hero thing going on, it sounds like. And JSJ, to answer your question, like, you could literally make anything and it'll be better than the first Miss Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Or sorry, no, yeah, sorry, the Miss Marvel show. I did not enjoy that one. Gerald, I know you thought different of it, but I didn't.
I didn't think I was too much of a teeny show to me. It was
Yeah.
a teen show. It was too much of a teen. It's something that I could not really just enjoy or get into. I thought it was okay, but at best. But I think I remember saying that it was too much geared towards a certain younger audience that took me out of the show almost entirely. So.
Well, it felt like one of those afternoon Disney Channel shows, like the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Like, even the production felt that way while you were watching it. So that's what really made me not want to finish the show.
I can't say I blame you, but I did finish it. But yeah, it's just there was a couple of maybe like halfway decent episodes. Like when they went back in time on Miss Marvel, I thought that was an interesting aspect. But when they came back to our modern time, they just didn't have really much to do or much interesting for me to watch. And then it led into the Marvels, which, yeah, that was a disaster. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you see my rankings on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, you'll understand that. Yeah, it's not that good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But if you have thoughts out there on the first season of Agatha All Along, I guess, well, you can also say that it came out of the fact that if you remember Agatha All Along, where it became that song became a hit on iTunes. So maybe that was the reason why they created the series. But I think it's a solid watch. And if you give it a chance, I think you'll like it too. But what are your thoughts out there on Agatha All Along? Please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, this past week on Halloween was the release of a very different game for a Halloween. It wasn't exactly a Halloween type game, but okay. EA and BioWare had other plans as far as what they wanted to go ahead and do. I mean, it's obviously at the heaviest time of season for buying video games, and it is Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition has come out to, in many cases, some really good reviews, although there's a lot of people questioning. I know that we had a long conversation on it on the Super BS Gamescast in regards to it, but I want to hear your thoughts on my friend on this, because you've now had some time to think about it. What is going on with this game? Is it the good game that a lot of people are saying it is? Some others saying, wow, it's maybe not reaching or scratching that Dragon Age itch as well as others. It's got it's very solid 85, man. And I think BioWare, they're after the troubles that they've had recently with the last Mass Effect and the last Dragon Age may have not have hit as well as many people thought, and then of course Anthem. I think an 85 there should be happy with, and I think an 85 overall should be something people should consider playing this fall.
Yeah, it's weird for me is I agree with what Brank was saying with all the overinflated reviews and the controversy surrounding all like the social dilemmas in that game. But looking at it, it doesn't look like a bad game, and I'm having a hard time like leaning towards one way or another because I kind of want to play it now, which I guess was like the whole, they succeeded in in their marketing there, but
Mhm.
so off air, Brank had made a comment where he's saying like basically they set this game up to be to where nobody could have a negative review on it without being discredited. And I was like, that I guess that's true, in its own right, but also because of that, I want to play it now to see like if it's really that bad, or like if all this stuff is really not hinders the game, but if they really do like overload you with all the the social commentary or what. But the game, I mean, just watching the videos though, like the game looks great, and people are saying like you said, they're getting 85s from Metacritic, and it's not the 9s and 10s it's been getting from a lot of these publications, so maybe it was overinflated just a little bit, but people for the most part seem to be enjoying it. I guess they came out, it was yesterday, I guess, and said they're not doing DLC because they're going to go straight to Mass Effect next. So I guess that's good, right? I mean, that's something we've been wanting for a long time. I just hope they can. Yeah, right. Yeah, I just hope it's something that they can do successfully. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I guess we will probably. I'm sure we won't see this Mass Effect game for at least 3 years.
No, no, I don't foresee it coming until 2027 at the earliest. Yeah, you're right. That seems like a holiday 2027 deal. Wait, when's
I,
the 20
the,
years?
oh, you think?
20-year
Yeah,
anniversary.
we'll get a new one. You know what I
Mhm.
will say for this though, like if they do what they did in Dragon Age and they completely remove your ability to explore anything, then I will be pretty mad about that. Like that will be a Mass Effect game that I probably will not play.
Because that's the thing I wanted to ask you. It's this Dragon Age Inquisition. It's not open world.
No,
Is
it's
that of
not.
concern?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was reading at the and
It
the
looks great though. It looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking games I have ever seen.
yeah, it looks great, and I mean, I've watched a lot of videos of it online. I've watched the boss fights, and I've seen like the animations. Like it looks. I haven't seen any like the facial bugs everyone's been talking about, but the it's people go to BioWare games because they want those RPGs where they have the world to explore, they have the characters to develop outside of these like constrictions that I guess were put in place for Dragon Age. But I guess like reading the stuff from the developers are saying they kind of like narrowed the paths on this one because there was a certain way they wanted you to play the game, which I guess sort of defeats the purpose of a BioWare game
Mhm.
because it's all about your choices in these games.
I just think it really, really looks good. It really looks like something I might want to dive into. I know with previous Dragon Ages, especially the one in 2014 that got IGN's Game of the Year, everybody was saying is great. I tried to get into that like earlier this year or like late last year. It just didn't connect with me. I had always been like, are you a Dragon Age guy or a Mass Effect guy? It's like I've always been a Mass Effect guy, as you can see
Yeah.
from right behind me. But Dragon Age is something I would like to get. It's weird because I never really got into Dragon Age, but yet I just finished over 100 gazillion hours of Oblivion,
They're
which takes place.
two completely different types of games though. I mean, with Oblivion, you're a nameless protagonist, right? And the Dragon Age games, like you're a very important character. So um I think that's kind of where the difference is you're kind of free in Elder Scrolls to forge your own path, whereas the BioWare games have a path they want your character to take. And I think I guess two different types of RPGs. But yeah, I mean, Inquisition was very highly rated by IGN and all these other, and Polygon, I think. But they then went on to say in their reviews of what was it, the Veilguard, that they don't know why they can't remember why they rated it so high. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't want to have a fully fleshed out opinion of it until I actually get a chance to play it.
Yeah, because it is like I said, I want to play Dragon Age the Veil card, but yeah, seeing how Inquisition did for them at the time. But the follow-up, I just don't remember the follow-up being that quite as good as if I remember correctly.
I think two is pretty awful. I don't
Yeah.
think that got a great review anywhere.
Let me get my Dragon Age games right. So it was Dragon Age, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition. Was there one after it, or I may be wrong?
No, there's some DLC came out that was pretty lengthy, because I think Dragon Age 1 is like the origin, then 2, I forget if that has a name, side name or not, and then Veilguard. They talked about there was I think the test footage for Veilguard, what it was originally called. I don't remember what it was, but I think that's
Dragon Age Origins.
That was the first one.
Okay, so all right,
Yeah.
so it's only 4. Okay, so that was probably what came out, was the DLC, because again, it's just Inquisition. Yeah, this is the first new one since the Inquisition. Then I stand corrected on that.
Yeah, well, this is the first thing BioWare's put out in a long time that hasn't been, a crappy Star Wars game.
Or Anthem.
Anthem. Yes. Yeah, right. What a waste of time that was.
It looked beautiful, though. The facial animations was something where it looked great there, but then you had to go out and play the game, and that was the problem right there. And then,
well, and chances are, like we discussed with Concord, had they have put, like, just as a backup plan, had a single player campaign in there, it probably would have been things probably would have turned out a little differently for that game.
Two things before we head to the break, my friend, on Dragon Age. First is, I'm kind of concerned about their sales. No matter what we think about it, great, not great, whatever we end up playing on it, I haven't seen a whole lot of advertising for it. I haven't seen a whole lot of media ads. And EA, if it's a Madden game, college football game, soccer game, they're gonna put major ads out on it. Dragon Age has come out to almost none as far as video or commercials. I have seen very little of that out there on the airwaves. That concerns me for a game that you want to get 5-10 million copies sold out there.
It's weird though, because they've been doing that with a lot of games lately. Like, there are these games that, like Astrobot was another one that didn't have
Concord,
a lot of advertising. Concord. I got kind of mad at GameStop the other day, because I pre-ordered 2 things from them, and I didn't get any phone calls, and I hadn't seen any advertisements. So I'm like, oh, I thought that this game was supposed to come out around this date, so I had to call them up. And like, yeah, we don't really call people anymore to let them know. They just kind of have to show up or call and pick up their games. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that sucks, because I'm not somebody who's going to keep constantly checking release dates on the internet. Like, I have a copy of Alan Wake 2 on physical over at one of our local GameStops, and I still haven't gone to pick it up yet. But yeah, I mean, you go like Astrobot, I had no idea that came out. There was a couple other ones that came out that I had no clue at all.
If you don't have the members points involved in this, I would just assume pre-ordering it through Amazon. But I think it just speaks, when GameStop finally meets in its inevitable doom, I can't say it's not warranted, because the way they've ruined the business.
So down. Yeah.
And before we head to the break, my friend, one last question. November the 7th, what are you expecting for a little sneak peek at something in the Mass Effect universe, my friend?
I always try to temper my expectations for this, because I know they'll put some kind of graphic out or something, and they'll say there's a game on the horizon, and I'm sure there is, and I'll be in my late 60s by the time it comes out. But it would be really, know my dream November 7th announcement would be that, yes, they have a like a short animation, and then like a possible like release window, but also, guess what? There's a show coming out on Amazon Prime of Mass Effect, and I'd be like, yes, you have my faith again, BioWare.
Yes, I would just, if I could do a backflip, I would do a backflip then, because I think why you would be doing it. Why you would be so happy. So, because you wouldn't have to hear me anymore groaning about it like all these years.
Yeah, the only people talking about Mass Effect over all these years, right, since Andromeda came out, has been us. like me, you, JSJ, all these people who have fond memories of Mass Effect. Like nobody talks about it anymore. It's just one of those franchises where everyone like it's one of those like, yeah, there's a new game coming out, but I'll believe it when I see it. So nobody really like hypes it up or push it, or BioWare must have hated it for so long. I don't know, but something needs to happen here.
Yeah, lesser known video game IPs, independent IPs, stuff, games I've never even heard of. Yeah, they'll all get pushed with a TV show or movie before Mass Effect. It just absolutely boggles my mind. But if you out there are playing Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is the latest, I was going to say Inquisition, Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is the latest from Dragon Age and EA, please let us know your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, 1/2 hour down, 1/2 hour to go here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Big shout out again to all the radio stations from around the world. It is Josh the Great Peterson from the Super BS Gamescast, Humanican Media, and the Happy Hoarder. My friend, before we get to holiday stuff and holiday conversations in regards to Black Friday and what people might be interested in before we head there, it's not our annual Black Friday show, people. So hold on. It's not going to be that show yet. And that comes out. Yeah, Josh and I get out the papers. We get out all the websites. We get all that good stuff going on. Yeah. That's a fun day indeed. But right now, my friend, in the movie industry, at the box office, a couple interesting things to note as far as Venom 3, The Last Dance, which I'm hoping to God is The Last Dance, because this series, I don't know how you guys watch it, but yeah, if you don't like these movies, which I never really did, except for Tom Hardy himself. Tom Hardy is really good, but they're just really bad movies outside of that. This latest one only dropped about 50 or so ish percent, so it's got about 22 million at the box office. The big disappointment is the return of Forrest and Jenny, my friend, as Robin Wright, Tom Hanks, Robert Zemeckis, the team that made Forrest Gump. They returned in the, I guess, Zemeckis likes to do these technologically advanced styled movies using, I guess, cutting edge techniques. And this one, it's centered around a location over the span of time. Since the beginning of time, going into all the way into as far as it became a part of a house, this location, and everything that goes on therein, throughout the span of the decades, throughout the centuries and whatnot. And then focusing primarily on the relationship between Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. Well, here wasn't really here for anyone, as it only debuted with $5 million domestically. It's not that expensive a movie. It's like around $45-50 million to make. So it's not going to take that too much of a bath for the studio. But it almost sends to me a message that, those great combinations that work so well in previous efforts and previous times, it's not working so well at this point in time. Maybe it's where the audience has moved on. But Tom Hanks is no longer the box office gold he once was. He could still bring out a great performance, and if given the right material, could probably still knock it out of the park. But this technology with the uncanny valley still there a little bit, and the fact that I just don't think it connected with audiences very well. It's just something that tells me, Josh, that I think maybe in certain ways we need to reevaluate what movies we put out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really, and I think the same thing happened with what was it, Francis Coppola's latest film too, the Metropolis, is that what that was called?
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think we're not currently in a place as like a movie going culture that really is into like wants to sit there and watch art house films in theaters. I think that those indie, not indie flicks, but like those more like artsy style movies are things that people would rather enjoy in their homes. So I mean, it's very possible this might have a whole new, breath in it once it hits the streaming platforms. But I don't think that putting something like this, and like you said, it didn't cost that much money to make. But I don't think people who are currently going to the movies are going to be the type of people that are going to want to watch these these what do you call them? Artsy films by filmmakers who have had better days.
Well, with Robert Zemeckis, Welcome to Marwen was one of the last movies he tried to do that had like cutting edge special effects and technology, and that did not land as well. So
So he's
I'm
fighting
not.
them Back to the Future 4, man. He really just doesn't want to do it.
No, and I guess he was talking about in interviews this past week about how we'll probably never see a Who Framed Roger Rabbit or anything in that realm again, uh, because of Jessica Rabbit, I guess, because of how Disney would want her portrayed and how
Yeah.
how she looks and all that. So I guess maybe that's probably something as well. Although I think a return to that would probably be more welcomed, I think, than anything Robert Zemeckis has. I think Back to the Future, if they probably will redo at some point in time, but I mean, there's Back to the Future is out there in stage shows and stage plays, just to give everybody a heads up on that if you want to check out your local theaters. But I still think at this point in time, I think they just finding new interesting things to do, sometimes it's hard. Here is a new interesting concept. It was trying to use cutting edge technology, but you could still see some, I don't know, it just, when I saw the trailer, it just didn't grab me. I could still see the uncanny valley. I mean, the emotions still not being able to be portrayed 100%, on the faces of Robin Wright and Tom Hanks. I just don't see we're quite there yet to do it for an entire movie. I mean, little bits and pieces. I think we're getting better within small cameos or a small frame of time frame, but doing it over the course of a 2-hour movie, I think is really asking too much.
Yeah. So actually, I was watching an interview with him. Someone interviewed him during the premiere of this movie, and they're asking him, like, they're saying, like, hey, the film does a lot. I mean, it does, like, the de-aging in this film looks really great. They did a great job with that. But they asked him in person, like, so if you could go back and be any age, what would you choose? And he says, I don't know what I choose, but I definitely will tell you this. I would not go back to being 35, because that is the age at which you start to age. All your metabolism slows down, your bones start hurting. I'm like, oh, man, you're speaking to my heart right now.
Well, actually, I wouldn't mind, because for me, that's 20 years ago. So, yeah. Well, what
Yeah.
can I say? They're really hurting now for me. But yeah, here was a disappointment. Another movie that was sent out in short release, because actually it's going to be moreover sent to Max. And I think that was probably the better idea to do, is to put something like here, to also put something like Juror number 2. It's only in limited theaters because of the award season. It has to do it in order to try and be eligible for awards. And the reason why I want Juror number 2 to be mentioned on our show, not only because of Nicholas Hoult, he's doing a lot of movies. He's a guy that I think a lot of people in Hollywood really want to start to push as someone that's going to be. I don't know if he is, or maybe, or will be, but right now they're trying to push him as a box office star. I don't think he's there yet, but maybe an upcoming movie or two might do that for him. But yes, he is starring in this. But the reason why I really want to talk about it, because uh, Warner Brothers really didn't do a good job of promoting this film and saying that, this could be the last cinematic effort for Clint Eastwood. Because Clint Eastwood is in his 90s. He didn't say this is going to be definitively his last film he'll ever direct, but my God, he can't have that many more in him, can he?
You wonder, man. You wonder, because what, Ridley Scott's late 80s now, and Sir Ian McKellen, they kept telling him, like, hey, we want you to return as Gandalf and hunt for Gollum, and he goes, well, you better be quick. But yeah, okay. Let me first say that I had no idea that this film existed. Had no idea. I like Clint Eastwood's movies. I think he's a pretty good filmmaker. But yeah, I had no idea that this was a thing. So now I'm interested. So maybe I'll have to go check it out. But Clint Eastwood is. I think he's. I wouldn't say he's too stubborn to die, but I mean, maybe like, maybe he has one more left in him. Looking at him, he doesn't look like he's failing right now, but then that could just be like a look he's putting on. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely 40 films is definitely something. It's quite an accomplishment.
I mean, if Bill Shatner can still be flying around the universe at 90 something years old, Why
Yeah.
can't Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to see Clint Eastwood before his time comes direct something in the genre that made him famous. It'd be cool to see him go back and direct a Western, but
Yeah.
will we ever see that? Who knows?
Instead of the good, bad, and the ugly, how about the good, bad, and the indifferent?
Right. Oh yeah, a movie about nothing.
Exactly. You have the showdown at the end and this stare down and comes the climactic music and one guy's ready to go off against the other and the young guy's ready to go off against the other. And then there's one guy in the middle. What do I do? I don't want to shoot nobody. And there you go. That's your movie right there.
Who do I aim this at?
Exactly. Go ahead. Make my day. But I will say this again: if you give it a chance, Juror #2, it's coming to Max pretty soon. Nicholas Holt plays a juror and I guess a vehicular homicide case where someone's being accused of vehicular homicide, where because he's had a drinking problem before, he thinks maybe he might have hit the individual. So that comes into play. J.K. Simmons, who's contrary to rumor, he's not in every movie. It just seems like it. And it seems, and he's going to be in the Santa Claus movie upcoming for Netflix as well.
They've won, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's coming up in 2 weeks here. So he's in it as well. But yeah, just again, I think people should go out of the way to see it just because of the fact that it might be the last ever offering by Clint Eastwood in his long and fine career, Josh.
Yeah, I mean that's
what is your favorite Clint Eastwood offering? Star or directing?
Okay. So as a director, I really enjoyed Mystic River. It was probably one of my favorites. Gran Torino, like I remember seeing that with my dad, and I did not quite understand racial terms back then, but looking back at it, yeah, it was it was a pretty racist movie, but I really enjoyed Mystic River, and I think if I were to look at like something he starred in, I think Unforgiven would probably be my favorite.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like Unforgiven. I think that's probably from a director standpoint. I think that's probably my favorite. Is Over $1 Million Baby.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That one was good.
He also did Sully. I think a lot of people forget that he also did Sully. He also did a couple others that I think people would need to know about. American Sniper, and some others that he's done. Obviously, he's directed so many movies that I didn't even remember him directing. But my favorite, I think, like you said, goes back to the spaghetti westerns, and I am going to go back to The Good, the Bad. Fistful of Dollars, absolutely outstanding. But I'm going to say The Good, Bad, and the Ugly for me as far as the quintessential Clint Eastwood. Although, my gosh, Dirty Harry movies, they're all great. Sudden Impact, just they're all dead. As far as Deadpool, yeah, there's just so many good Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movies as well. But yeah, I'm going to probably go ahead and say Good, Bad, the Ugly for me.
Yeah, I guess he did do a Western back in 2021. It's called Cry Macho.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, it's that one he did. But that was more, wasn't that more of a, yeah, he's the mule, working. He's like a mule that has to go back and forth. He's transporting drugs and whatnot.
That's the movie called The Mule. Like this is Cry Macho is like a
rodeo star and washed up horse. Yeah, okay, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, they called like an American neo western, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, it's clicking back with me now. I remember that. Yeah, because he's asked by, that's right. He's asked by someone that's still older than me. Now get this. I remember that's clicking in my brain now. He's asked by someone that's older than me, asking the guy that's even older than him to go ahead and find his son. I think that was the case as far as is concerned, correct? Right. Yes. Yeah. So yeah. I'm going to ask the 80-something-year-old guy, can you go ahead and find my son? Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. Yeah. You should be healthy enough to do that, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because, getting your local octogenarian is really the great thing to do as far as, getting back your kids that have been kidnapped. What was it, by the Mexican cartel or something like that? Or am I wrong on that? Is that wrong?
No, I think that sounds right to me.
Okay.
I mean, that was kind of like the premise of a lot of movies that have come out over the past 3 years, though, too.
That's true. Just instead of hire an old gunfire like in the past, it was hire your local octogenarian to get your kids back.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
works for me. But what are your thoughts on Clint Eastwood? Can you tell us your great memories on movies he's directed or hosted? His great career may be coming to an end with Juror number 2. And also your thoughts on Here. Was it a misfire? I still appreciate the fact that Zemeckis is willing to do original and different things. Even though this didn't click, I appreciate the fact he just tried to do something different. And I wish we would see more of that because maybe it will click. Something else will click in the world of films. So please let us know your thoughts on Here and Juror 2. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, before we head on out, before we head into the little taste of Black Friday I have for you, my friend, what's going on with the Happy Hoarder? Do you have any plans for the holidays? Do you have any deals that people need to start thinking about coming up soon?
Yeah, I plan on posting some deals here soon. We got a couple things in November and a couple things in December. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I get that old website back up, I'll probably have some Christmas deals going on. So definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, Humanica Media is pumping out Super BS, man, and you're a part of the family now. So we're just one episode after another. Check that out. Subscribe. Definitely share it. Tell people about it. But I think it's a pretty good podcast.
Although, if you're locally in the Texas area and you are interested in pop culture collectibles and items, reach out to Josh at the Happy Hoarder. I think he could go ahead and get you squared away as well. But before we head on out, a little taste of Black Friday, because November, one of our favorite months of the year because of the big deals, especially in electronics and pop culture, seemingly just pop up left and right. Amazon, Costco, Walmart, all the major retailers are really going to go ahead and just get it on out there. Sky Dweller, thank you so much for the kind words. Truly appreciate it. So, my friend, as we go to our friend Black Friday, nothing unusual there yet. We'll do this on our shows when we get a chance, every time we get an opportunity over the next month. So if you go to blackfriday.com, a big shout out to them. Please don't copyright us because you're not going to get any money because this site is not monetized. Sorry to say. But with right now, you taking a look, only, just a handful, Josh, have come out with their Black Friday ads, or that Black Friday 24 has gotten a hold of. Remember in the days, like when we started doing this, we used to see the ad scans. Like you felt like somebody at the corporate office went to their local copier, like middle of the night, and just like copied it. Yeah. And it's like you had that look like it was just off a copier.
Yep. That's right.
That was so funny back then. Now it's just like you're seeing printed ad scans and you're seeing the stuff that's out there. Again, it's still, most of this is just holiday or pre-Black Friday. I know Walmart is starting its pre-Black Friday sales. I know Dell is doing pre-Black Friday if you're looking into computers, stuff like that.
We see
Go
Black
ahead.
Friday though all the way through the month of November now. There's no specific like Black Friday sale. Everyone calls them Black Friday sales, but they start 2 weeks before the official Black Friday date. So, definitely check this website, but also make sure you're checking like your favorite places to shop, because chances are, like, I get these notifications all the time from like Hot Topic and Box Lunch and Best Buy and all these places where I like I'll buy Funko Pops and video games and things like that. So make sure you're watching a lot of these things even outside the site. But yeah, I mean, Black Friday, it's become an entire month. The entire month of November is all just crazy sales.
Absolutely. I've already seen when I'm driving on the roads here in Las Vegas on the billboards, like for instance, RC Willie's, which is a regional chain that sells electronics and furniture. they're already in Black Friday. They're already advertising a Black Friday sale. And I'm like, okay, it's October 30th. Okay, well, there you go. All right. But with that, my friend, the reason why I wanted to get going here as far as get initiated on that, hoping I don't sneeze while I say this, but I got handed to me when I was at my local Costco this already, which is the Costco holiday savings. And the reason why I say, and I'm trying to emphasize this as a part of our show, is because of the fact if you look at it, you look at the side, and you can also check this out, by the way, in full on blackfriday.com. This is already dated for you, and it's color tabbed. If you want to see right there, if you see those color tabs, those are a set of dates. Now, Walmart does the same thing where it has certain products on sale for a certain amount of time during the course of the month of November. But what you also notice is that it also has for late to November through early December, aka that Black Friday weekend. So they put it all out there, Josh. So I'm going to bring it back up here on blackfriday.com. Go ahead, Josh. You want to say something?
No. I mean, that is actually like a smart business set though, because or idea, because if you think about it, if you remember like Best Buy and Target, and there's a couple other places back then, they had certain deals that started at different times on Black Friday. But now it seems like stores are doing like this, where it's like, hey, from this date to this day, you can get this for this much. From this date to this day, you can get this for this much. So, and even looking at Costco, like their stuff goes all the way into December here. So I guess that's a pretty great idea, even though Costco doesn't really have a lot of things that excite, a lot of people, because they don't sell like physical media anymore. So that's what I'm into Black Friday for.
They're not usually into small stuff. That's what the thing. But for the larger stuff, and the reason why I say that, if you look at it, and I'm just flipping through the pages now, but it does section by section, and it does give you an idea what is already going to be on sale for the entire month. I absolutely love this idea, Josh, because it gets you prepared. You don't have to play games. I had to every year I had to go to the liquor store at like 3 or 4 in the morning to make sure I got a Thanksgiving paper so I could know exactly what was going on sale from everybody.
Yeah.
Now, this way, I am prepared, whether it's online or in store only. They tell you whether it's online or in store only on the products that you're seeing here. And it's interesting. I'm wondering if there's a 100-inch TV in here for $19.99. I don't know if that's projection or not, if that's actually a 100-inch television. Because, in up until recently, the 100-inch televisions were like still kind of like a projection, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
right.
So I have to go check it out in my local Costco to see if they have it and actually see it. I'm not going to buy it. Personally, I've still got an 86 that does me fine, but I'm just interested to see what is trending. If they finally reached over that, because I've seen them at CES do this, but have they gotten that over that realm? And as I'm flipping through the pages, we're getting to the good stuff here coming up real soon. As far as that, see, these are their kind of good deals for that Black Friday holiday season, and then they've got the Costco.com stuff that's coming up with a red tag. So I just like the way they do things. Costco has become so large, Josh, for a reason. And I think people have to understand, okay, you have to buy in bulk, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a reason why Costco has done so well in recent years, Josh.
Yeah, it's definitely the you can't beat the pricing at Costco. Like you really can. It's honestly even more so than Sam's Club. It's worth having a membership to Costco for stuff like this.
See, I'm still trying to find that. There it is. See, if you look at the left-hand corner, $19.99, so $2,000 for a 100-inch television. So that's where we're at in the year 2024. I know that my wife and I talked about in 7-10 years. Here's an i7, by the way, if anybody's interested. As far as for $1,000, that seems to have really good. But yeah, I'm just showing that to you because Costco looks like it has its act together, but it's it's respecting the consumer. They don't have to play these games They don't need to play these games like, oh, we won't show it to you. We're not going to go ahead and be able to present it to you until the very last moment. We're going to go ahead and show it to you right away. We're not afraid of our deals. We're not afraid of what we're going to go ahead and have on sale for you. In fact, these are the ones right now I'm in right now that are just for those Black Friday weekend only deals. In fact, like if you see there, the Dyson, that's $200 off on that high-end unit right there. You see what they've got as far as their sticks, man. The Dyson's really popular at Costco. You see that Microsoft Surface laptop right there for what, $1,099. That's $200 off. These are the big deals that they're talking about. And you see, as far as the high-end Sonos, this is just some really quality stuff that they're putting off on at better prices for that period of time. These are the ones that I'm looking at.
Yes.
I'm looking at that one right there, Josh. I don't know if to your left, as far as the $12.99, that one is available through the website only. That's going to be a iBuyPower Slate Mesh 8. That is I've done more research on it. That is an i9. Right now, currently is $16.99, but it'll be $400 off on the 29th of November. That one is an i9, 32 gigs of memory, 2 terabytes SSD, pretty decent video card, 4070 Super Graphics. It's a RTX 4070 with 12 gigabytes, so that's pretty decent. And then you've got the laptop. Remember, folks, when you're shopping laptop to desktop, for the same price, you're not going to get as much under the hood with a laptop because you're exchanging that for portability. This is still an NVIDIA right there as far as the 4070, not quite the Super, but still a very solid one. And it's got an i7 with a 32 gig and a 1 terabyte SSD for $12.99. These are high-end units that they're having several $100s off, Josh. This is what it's all about. And the fact is that you get to know about this a month in advance really makes it helpful for the consumer.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great to have this, but don't, when you guys are shopping for Black Friday, like don't ever click on the first thing you see because it's a good deal, because chances are if you shop around, there's going to be, somebody might have it for cheaper, because a lot of these places try to compete with each other. Lifted, to answer your question, like me personally, like I'd be in the market. I'm always in the market for movies and video games, but also collectibles. I Black Friday is a good time for me to stock up for the happy hoarder, so I pick up a lot of collectibles too. Gerald, what about you? What are you in the market for besides a computer? Anything specific?
Well, we talked about even before the show that I have it's up to 14th generation. I have a 3rd generation computer running the show right now, so I think that tells you all you need to know. But if there's any good deals on video games, I might pick some up. The usual deal there, but not a whole lot this year outside of just trying to focus on the computer to try and keep this show running for another 10 years. That's my goal. I don't need to worry about running high-end games. I'm just worried about running this show in 10 years because Windows 10 is the highest I can run on this current computer. And after next year, it will no longer be able to be updated to whatever Windows. Windows 10 will no longer be doing updates. So I have to make real hard decisions about what I want to do for the future of this channel by getting a new computer that will do that job.
Yeah, right. I mean, and that's you think that would be something you could write off as like a business expense, if you were ever to like turn this into an LLC or something. But yeah, it's crazy that computers are as expensive as they are. Just thinking about it.
Well, that's the case. But yes, if you get a chance, please check out blackfriday.com. Josh, I've got a favor to ask you. On our shows, on the Cosmos or the Gamescast, can we spend just a couple minutes trying to figure out if there's any updates on this so we can keep getting people updates on what's coming up sale for Black Friday?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lifted said, I've never heard of a PC working past 5 years. Congrats, Gerald.
He's made it. He's made it. Yep. It's just an act of God. Yeah, he just prays over it every time he goes to podcast.
Exactly. Please work. Please work. But yours is 11 years old too, 12 years old too.
Yeah, 2012. So mine actually stopped updating back in 2018. So Mac runs on like a 7-year life cycle. So, or not 2000, yeah, 2020, I think maybe. Yeah, because Mac runs on a 7-year life cycle. They only last 7 years. After 7 years, they stop updating, allowing you to update to the latest like operating system that they have. And that's part of their plan to be like, oh, I need to go buy a new Mac now. So I have not updated the OS on this in forever. So I'm just waiting for the day when I go to turn it on and just nothing happens.
There you go. There you go, indeed. So for Josh the Great Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping, well, before we go, I'm sorry. I have a MacBook. Lifted says I have a MacBook Pro from 2013. I think I want to update. It still works, but the battery is shot. Oh, so he has to be tied to the outlet.
I know and that's the thing with battery, like laptop batteries, especially whether it's Mac or PC or Windows, you're still, once the battery dies, it doesn't. Yeah, every time the battery dies, it refills. It's able to charge less and less until eventually you just have to keep it plugged in all the time.
Yikes! Not really. It doesn't really become that mobile anymore, really, does it?
Yeah, yeah. At that point, you might as well bought a time.
Exactly. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.